graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Americans love to eat. They are fatally attracted to the slow death of fast food. Hot dogs, corn dogs, triple bacon cheeseburgers, deep fried butter dipped in pork fat and cheese whiz, mayonnaise soaked barbecued mozzarella patty melts. Americans will eat anything. If you were selling sauteed raccoons' assholes on a stick, Americans would buy them and eat them, especially if you dipped them in butter and put a little salsa on them. This country is big time, pig time. Forget the bald eagle. You know what the national emblem of this country ought to be? A big bowl of macaroni and cheese. A big bowl, because everything in this country is king size. King size, extra large, and super jumbo. Especially the fucking people. Have you seen some of the people in this country? Have you taken a good look at some of these big fat motherfuckers walking around? Big fat motherfuckers. Oh my God. Huge piles of redundant protoplasm lumbering through the malls like a fleet of interstate buses. The people in this country are immense, massive bellies, monstrous thighs, and big fat fucking asses. And if you stand there for a minute and you look at one of them, you begin to wonder, how does this woman take a shit? How does she shit? And even more frightening, how does she wipe her ass? Can she even locate her asshole? She must require assistance. Are paramedics trained in this field? And standing right next to her, of course, with a plate full of nachos and a mouthful of pie is her clueless fucking husband, Joe Sixpack. With his monstrous swollen beer belly hanging dangerously out over his belt buckle, this guy ain't seen his dick since the Nixon administration. And if you stand there and you look at the two of them, you begin to wonder to yourself, do these people fuck? Is this man actually capable of fucking this woman? It doesn't seem structurally possible that these two people could achieve penetration. Maybe they're in that Cirque du Soleil or something. I'm telling you, the people in this country, every one of them is 50 pounds overweight. They are gargantuan. And in the summertime, God help us, in the summertime, they all want to wear short pants. Jesus, Lord, protector of all that is good and holy, deliver me from fat people in short pants. They all got short pants, big bellies, fat thighs, and dumb kids. Short pants, big bellies, fat thighs, and dumb kids. Every one of them's got two dumb-ass kids with them. And the whole family is wearing T-shirts, and every one of them's got the same T-shirt. I'm with stupid. Apparently in this country, the stupids are an extended family.
I'm a fat fuck, I like my steak tough. I'm a fat fuck, I like my steak tough. I like my duck pluck, I'll buy you a food truck. I'll buy you some buff chicks, I'll get you the sauce up. How you eat a salad, your life is fucked up. I'm a fat fuck, it's inappropriate. I like eating candy, that's super sweet shit. I wanna eat more shit, I eat the whole shit. Send me some more shit, you scrawny ass bitch. I'm such a big fat show, I love it. I'm such a big fat show, you love it.
Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast will fail.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Paul had to put the pussy away right before we started recording. Paul had to
literally.
Paul, Paul had to. I guess it's the cat. It's your new cat. Is it new? It sounds like a young cat.
Yeah, it's a new cat. We I think I've talked about my cat on here.
Because it's in heat, and it was just like wow, wow. I kind of wish you would have kept it for the show. It would have been funny. But go on.
No, I had to put her in the basement. There's no way I was going to deal with that. I think she understood when I shut the door because she hasn't said anything. But basically what happened was I was at my parents' one day, and I'm sure you're the same way. A cat comes up, you're like, oh, I want to pet the cat. Maybe not in the city where you are, but
so it's a stray cat.
I don't know. So was it a stray?
Or was this outside of the house? Was this outside of? It was outside.
I think it was. I think somebody like just threw her out of the house, and then she either never went back, or they just wouldn't let her back in, and she just came over came over this way. Basically, like I went up to pet the cat, and cats don't usually come to me, but then she came to me. And she wouldn't leave, and she was also like really thin. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my mom. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this cat? So I fed her, and she definitely didn't want to leave after that. So I just kept her. Yeah, she's definitely not. I mean, you heard her. She's definitely not fucking fixed.
Yeah.
But because of COVID and the, you know how these vets go. It's gonna be like 2 or 3 months before I can get her.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Basically.
Yeah,
well, not neutered.
Like it's
not neutered.
Spayed.
Whatever the female version of spayed. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, since it's not like an emergency. Yeah, I could see like maybe holding off on going into a doctor's office. I mean, even if it's a vet's office, but just avoiding.
Well, I mean, I've already taken her twice to the vet because I wanted to have her checked out, and these vets like. They sit there and they're like, well, you should do this, and I'm like, how much is it? Oh, 200. Yeah, that's nice. Let's just do what I came here to do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, not the cat that I had previously, but the one I had before that. They were like, oh no, okay, no, I was living with my uncle, and he had a Siamese cat, and so I took the cat to the vet, and they were like, now mind you, the cat already was like 12 or 13 years old. And they were like, and she has cancer in her kidneys, and she has this, and she has that. And like, and I said, and I just, okay, so just throw the number at me. And they were like 1,200. And I said, this fucking cat's like 13 years old. And then like the doctor's like, I could put her to sleep for 50. And I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, at least when you would, with the, and I hate, and I'm not, and not to sound cruel because I love cats. I've had cats my entire life, but I mean, like for $50, look, they give you the shot, fucking, you close your eyes, you go to sleep, you don't fucking wake up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate the sanctity of life, but like $1,200 for like a 12, 13-year-old cat, that was already a pain in the ass. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I had, so from the ex that I had a kid with, and, well, we'll get into that other thing in a minute.
Yeah.
So with the ex that I had my kid with, Logan, basically, we had like 2 or 3 cats, and I needed to make sure that the cats were, I wanted to make sure the cats had a good home. So the one of them I still actually have. It's actually at my parents' house because she wanted to keep him. That's why he's not here with Shadow on us, and also we don't know like how she would react because she doesn't like being around other animals for some odd reason. So, but that's another story for another time. So, the other one, I had a female. Her name was Sarah, and we had to put her down because something happened with like her kidneys or something. And she was just in so much pain that we had to just end it. She was just such a loving cat, and so like when this female came along, I was like, oh, I need to have this female. Didn't expect her to be like every other week, like going into heat, and I don't know why she's doing it in the middle of winter, but whatever. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of waiting until I can get her neutered and whatever. And not neutered, spayed. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm losing my mind. So yeah, I mean,
and speaking of things being in heat.
Yeah, speaking of things being in heat. So pretty much, I mean, it's already out there on social media. Everybody that listens to this podcast has already seen the post. So surprise, I'm having another kid.
Is he gonna be a daddy?
Yes, and we found out the other day it's a boy, so thank God. Oh my God, thank fucking Lord it's a boy.
And it's long enough where, like, because most people, like, it's bad luck to talk about in the first trimester, but like the first trimester is already over, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's coming up on, what is it, probably the 11th. That'll be like 5 months-ish. So, I mean, he's due in June.
Oh, great. That's all. Your birthday's in June. My birthday's in June.
Yeah, exactly.
I swear, like, I'm not even exaggerating. I think I know like 20 or 30 people that have
It's
like
very,
birthdays in June.
It's really weird, dude, because like
What's
he's
about
supposed to be
September?
due around like around I think it's sometime in June. I won't give the date, but it's close enough to my birthday where I went, oh well, isn't that fucking ironic? Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. I wasn't sure if I could have any other kids. Not gonna lie.
Like physically, or just like.
I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but you know, it wasn't like
there were no kids
with
before.
Right.
Oh,
the
okay,
one that I was
okay, I get
dating
what you're saying.
before, yeah,
Oh, okay.
I thought that, you know, we had tried. I mean,
Okay.
so it wasn't
So your boys are
like.
swimming.
But you do see what I'm saying? Like, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you're gonna say, and then go ahead and say it, because I'm not that type of person. But you know, it just kind of opened my eyes to be like, huh, okay.
No, I mean, look, you know, a guy has a pride in his, like, you know, my boys are swimming kind of a deal. So, I mean, you know, it obviously wasn't your issue to be addressed or whatever. And, you know, and even, I mean, you know, you've been taking care of yourself and stuff like that. I mean, so.
Well, I mean, that might have had something to do with it, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, we weren't really, me and my girlfriend now weren't really, you know, I mean, we were planning to have a kid down the road, but it wasn't really like, oh, it's going to happen now kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, nobody plans it, because everyone goes, oh, you know, like when you're young, oh, I'll have a kid when I'm ready, and it's like, you're never going to be ready. If that's the case, you know, that means you're going to be fucking.
I mean, I'm going to be 37 in June, so I mean, it's a good time. Honestly, it's a good time to have a kid, because I don't really want to be like in my 40s having a fucking kid. I you know, and I mean, after this, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to have another kid. I did want to have another one. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, obviously I was trying, but you know, I mean, it's just, you know, it came out of the blue. So
yeah. Well, if I have another one, it's gonna be fucking immaculate conception or some shit like that. But
yeah.
You have to be fucking somebody to have a kid. But,
I mean, with your luck, you'll probably get somebody.
Yeah, it'd be like the first person I knocked
like,
up or something. Like, I'll have a one night stand, and all of a sudden it'll be like.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Like your luck, dude. Like you'll probably have a one night stand and get somebody pregnant.
I'm pregnant. You're the father, and I'm gonna kill all three of us.
Oh God. I would just sit there and be like, Chris, we had this conversation. So I mean, you know, it's you know.
Well, congratulations.
We'll see what happens. I mean, June, don't ask me to do a podcast because I'll probably be busy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, that's because, I mean, we're both, because we both have single, we both, because you have a son, I have a daughter. So we're both like parents of one kid, but yeah, now you're going to have two. And like, that's the whole thing, is that like, and then like, you know, I could understand, like, okay, and I think two, that's it. I don't understand people who have like 3 or more kids. I mean, it's, you know, of course, yeah, when a woman wants to get her fucking claws in a dude or whatever, and she already has one baby daddy, and, you know, now she's trying to catch that next motherfucker. You know, I understand having his kid, because that's how you keep him around. But I mean, like in general, like if I was in a stable relationship with a woman, I could not see the idea of having like a third kid. Like that makes no fucking sense to me whatsoever.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, so I mean, I'm not going to get too personal about my girlfriend, but she has 2 other kids. So this is going to be her third kid. So
she got her claws in.
And
no, I'm sorry. You know, I'm kidding. I'm just busting your chops.
I mean, whatever. But I mean, it's one of those things where I was just like, I'm like, either you're really fertile or I'm really fertile, because Jesus Christ, like, oh my God, this came out of nowhere. But I mean, like after this, like me and her aren't going to have any other kids. So I mean, it's pretty good. And I mean, my first kid has, you know, he's 15 years old. So, I mean, it's a good time because he can kind of, you know, be there and kind of help, and also, you know, bond with him, because I feel like, again, I don't want to get too personal, but I feel like, you know, with his other 2 brothers that he has, see, 3, by the way, not my kids. No, not my kids. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's just, you know, I kind of felt like sometimes he felt like he was left out with his other 2 brothers. Like his other 2 brothers were treated differently. So I feel like him taking part in being with his brother will definitely help him. It may actually help him with his other two brothers, and just kind of maybe that'll grow a bond with them too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but it's it'll be interesting because once he turns 18, he's mine. Either way.
Oh, okay.
So, oh yeah, don't. He's like, Dad, so when I turn 18, you're gonna park at the. I'm like, oh, I'll be there. Well, the caveat here, unfortunately, is he turns 18 and he'll turn 18 in December because that's when his birthday is. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's less than 3 years from now, but he'll still be in school. He'll be in his senior year, so I'll have to wait until his senior year's done and then be like, pull up that next day. Let's go.
Yeah. So, and it blows on, like with me, like in my situation, like since my daughter's mother passed away, it's like I can never hand her off. God forbid something happens to me. I guess it would go to my next of kin, but who the hell's my next of kin? My mom? Like my brother? Like, if something happened to me, I wonder, I'm pretty sure like her mother's side of the family may fight or whatever, but if something happened to me, it's not like, if her mother was still alive and I died, I'm like, okay, she'll be with her mom, but.
I'm sure we've had this kind of conversation on the podcast before, but that's kind of why I've said to you, it's probably in your best interest to do as much as you can to, lose weight, get into better shape, and just be healthy for your daughter, because your daughter's going to need you.
Some asshole runs a red light, you know what I'm saying? No one's promised tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I
get what you're saying. I'm a fat fuck, but I'm just saying, just in general.
No, wait. I didn't say you were a fat fuck. I was just saying you need to do something for your, that's for your daughter. That's not for, that's not for me. That's not for some fucking other chick. That's for, that's for you to be there for as long as you can for your daughter.
Yeah, I got you.
Because she doesn't have her mom now. Mm-hmm. And it's an even better reason to do the things that you need to do, That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're a fat fuck. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Sometimes I look at your Facebook and I'm just like, is he gonna commit suicide? Because I'm just I sometimes I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, it's just like I look at like everybody I know, and like everybody I know kind of has somebody in their life, and I'm sort of like, and I have my daughter, absolutely, but I don't, like everybody has like a partner, or they have family, or they have people that they can rely on, and it's like, I don't fucking, I have friends, but if my fucking world okay, let's say I get hit by a fucking car tomorrow, and I have and I can't fucking walk. I'm crippled to the point of one step above vegetable. I'm awake and I can move my arms, but I can't move my legs. Who's gonna wipe my ass? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna at least if you had friends, or if you have not friends. If you have family or someone that's close to you or whatever, if you have a partner, okay. I don't have that in my life, and it's sort of like if something happens to me tomorrow that's really fucking bad.
I completely know what I know what you're talking about. It's.
I could have put that stress on a 10-year-old girl.
I don't want to go. I don't want people to think I'm gonna cut myself or something. But it's one of those situations where you come out of a relationship, a long-term relationship, and you're like, what do I do now?
You question your values.
What do I do now?
You question
exactly.
If someone could just throw me away. Or that's the way it feels. I feel like I'm being thrown away.
There are times, dude, where there were times, I shouldn't say now because I don't really question myself. There's been times in the past, that I've just kind of been like, did I do something wrong? Am I the person that did something wrong?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even my last serious relationship was around this time last year. And around this time last year, we're doing a podcast where you're saying oh, you guys are meant for each other and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, a guy that her male friend's wife dies and she disappears. So it's sort of it makes you question your worth. If she could just dump me like that, it sort of, makes you feel oh, what a fucking piece of shit am I that, But then again, also, God knows how long they were planning on getting together. They were just waiting for the guy's wife to die. So.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, that put a dent in me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm that disposable that, you would think at the very least, say, look, me and this guy.
Dude, I've been in the same situation, man. I had, there was, if you remember, there was obviously my ex that, you knew, and then before that, I had dated a chick for about 2 months that was, she did the same thing that she did to you, where she was waiting for this guy to come back, and then once he came back, she dumped me. Mm-hmm. And she cheated on me too. And it's like, I understand that you wanted this one guy, and by the way, she's not even with that guy anymore. She's been with like 50 different guys since me. So, I guess in the long run, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm good. I'm definitely good. But it's like if you don't want to date somebody, and you're waiting for somebody else, wait for that other person. Don't fucking waste somebody's time. Mm-hmm. There was one chick that I dated. And I've talked about her before, I believe. She was the same age as me. She had 2 kids. Great mom. And, she started getting close to me. And, for me, I'm gonna start to move when I start to see sign. Mm-hmm. Any guy does that. We're not gonna move immediately because we're not stupid, especially at our age. So, she would move, and then all of a sudden she backed off. Oh, I just want to be friends. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but you kissed me the other day. Oh, well. And you remember this line, and I still have this etched in my mind. Well, sometimes a kiss is just a kiss.
Oh yeah,
I remember that, and I was just like, that's like that was the one time where I was just like, I had control of the situation. I was so happy. I was kind of an asshole, but I was control of that situation. And I said, listen, if that's how you're gonna be, I don't want to. I'm done. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to be anything. I don't want somebody wasting my time. Mm-hmm. I can't. I'm not going to waste my time with somebody that doesn't know what she wants. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. And it was on top of that. She was still friends with her ex-husband. Mm-hmm. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There should be a good relationship in the sense of parenting, but you're friends with him, you're getting gifts for him for different holidays and shit, and it's not you're getting a gift for your kid to give him, but you're just gonna give him a gift. That sets off some alarm bells, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I was just very women do not know what they want. A lot of women do not know what they want. I mean, it is what it is.
I can hear the cat in the background.
You can hear it in the background. Yep, she's getting murdered. It does. It sounds like she's getting murdered. So, I mean, it would be shit. It would be really loud if I opened that door. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. You just gotta find it. You just gotta find a normal chick, and unfortunately, there's not a lot. It's like chicks.
Okay, so and don't get me wrong, I'm still on dating sites, and even up until for my birthday last year, which was in June, I said, all right, I'm going to get myself a 6-month subscription to the dating site. And with it being quarantine and stuff like that, all right, you could talk to, meet a girl, talk to her for a little while before you get to see her and shit like that. And, I talked to a couple, and I went on a couple of dates last year. And, one girl, and that's this stuff I don't know if I talked about on the podcast. I might have told you in our own conversations, but there was one girl and she was very high energy, and she had said, and we went on a date and it seemed going good and we kept talking after the date. And then one day she just called me up and she was like, what did she say? She was like, I'm pretty annoying, aren't I? And I said, no. I said, you're high energy. I said, you have a lot of energy and you seem like, you always amped up. But I said, that's part of who you are. And I guess I must have triggered, she must have had a bad conversation with someone before me. And I said it in the nicest way. Oh, yeah, see, that's all, I'm high strung and this and this and that. And I was like, whoa, obviously this girl had other issues. So it's probably best that her and I didn't get together. And even recently, I was talking to a girl, and it's one of those deals where the web, these dating sites, they'll let you know, Jane liked your profile. So then you go and you check out Jane's profile, and you look and so what I do is when I talk to girls online, if the girl says, I like Harry Potter movies or some shit like that, I'll throw a question out, which one's your favorite Harry Potter movie and this and this and that. And I try to drop a little knowledge on them, I've never written a girl what's up, or hey or something like that. Like, you know, I write and maybe this is my fault. Maybe because I'm a nice guy or something like that. Like, you know, I kind of write a nice, well-to-do like letter addressing stuff they actually like, and then you go back and forth. But the one thing I've noticed is that like, and I've actually put this in my profile on the site. Like, if I ask you a question, all right, and then like, you know, and then of course, you know, you answer, like, you know, if you're talking to a girl, oh, what's your favorite Harry Potter movie? And and let's just say she just answers, you know, The Goblet of Fire. And that's her response, you know, and then like, oh, and then we'll talk, you know, oh, I see you live, oh, it says here, you know, you used to live in California. Oh, how was that like, you know, and then she'll go like, you know, oh, I lived in California. I was there for a job, you know, and, you know, once, the job, you know, once I was able to transfer back to Rochester, I moved back to Rochester, you know, okay. And then like she's answering my questions, but I'm like, she's not asking me anything about me. And it's like, you know, I'm asking questions to kind of keep the conversation going. And so I've noticed, and I've done this to like the past like 3 or 4 girls I've spoken to online, where I'll go, you know, I'll go back, I'll go like 2 or 3 exchanges where I'm addressing stuff specifically like from their profile and stuff that, you know, where they used to live or what they're into and stuff like that. And then I go, well, what do you want to know about me? Fucking dead silence. And I don't know if like, you know, I mean, it's one thing, some girl, I'm shy, I don't know what to ask. You know, a lot of, you know, it's the same girls who have like on their profile, like, I don't know what to write in these things and stuff like that. Like, I need a girl with a fucking personality. I need a girl with, you know, who, you know, and that's the whole thing. And then as soon as I go, what do you want to know about me? That kills the conversation whatsoever. You know, and and the whole thing is because, like, I think I write very meaningful messages because, you know, these girls, whenever you hear girls talking about dirty sites, it's always like, you know, a guy will send them a dick pic, or a guy will just say, what's up? Or, you know, are you, you know, just you up or something like that, like looking for a booty call. I actually write fucking heartfelt fucking messages, or, you know, messages that have to do with stuff that they're into, not like a generic like, hey, I like your profile, right back to me, you know. And I don't know, maybe I'm apparently it's not working. I have to change whatever my game is. But like I said, I love how you can kill a conversation in a heartbeat by saying, well, what do you want to know about me? But go on, I'm sorry.
Oh, I fucking hate that. Like, I hate when women, okay. First of all, I have a girlfriend. We're having a kid, so just forgive me if I talk in the wrong tense here. But when I was on dating sites, the one thing that would annoy me is you would message somebody and you'd be like, "Hi, how are you? Good, how are you?" And yeah, I mean, you're just starting a conversation, and you're just like, you know, if you hit it off where, you know, you guys are actually having a conversation, you ask that normal question. Well, you know, tell me about yourself. What are your likes, dislikes, you know, that kind of thing, and blah, 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 blah. And if they give you one-word responses in that, I used to just stop talking to people, because I'm just like, why do I want to deal with this? Like, why do I want to deal with somebody that's going to be like, like you're not interesting to me. You're not. What's the
bland.
word? Like you're just, you're bland. Like I don't want somebody that's just like, oh, my life sucks, I'm gonna go cut myself later. Like, I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody that's like, I want somebody that I'm gonna, you know, have fun around and whatever, you know. And that's the thing. Like, you know, these girls, they just go for bad guys. I mean, we were kind of having this conversation the other day, talking about something completely different, which we won't talk about. But, you know, it's funny because these girls are attracted to always these bad guys, you know. Sometimes you get these, it's funny because there was a post I shared with you the other day where, you know, one of my black friends shared a thing where he said he had a picture of this girl. I guess she's from Britain, but he's like, this is the picture of a girl that's going to date a black guy, a white girl. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I've seen this before. And, you know, it's just because it's funny because, and somebody had commented, another black person commented and said, and they don't just date the black dude, they date the worst black dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I could completely see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there's something that goes on with like and I hate to say, and this is going to sound, incredibly racist. Like, there's something about these white girls when they go, like, they're going to start dating a black guy, they start, like, putting all types of hair products in their hair. The hair's always fucking, like, matted to their fucking heads. Or, like, or the part that is, like, or the part that isn't will be, like, all, like, curly and stuff like that. And, like, it's almost like there's a uniform for white girls that want to date black guys. Like,
yeah, the thing that kills me is you see some of these chicks go from the whitest of the white girl to like this Latino fake ass looking black woman, and you're just like, wait, what just happened here? Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I just and it's like, that their family is probably sitting there going, "Are you okay?" Like, because
because it's a form of rebellion. Let's fucking, like, I mean, can I just, and once again, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong, but in their heads they're saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and people are going to have to accept it. And there's a defiant, almost rebellion to it when like, when a white girl's going to date a black guy, like, let somebody say something to me, and this, like, it certainly feels like I said, like a form of rebellion. Like, I'm going to do this just to piss people off, or I'm going to do this because no one can tell me what to do, it's done in a way where, not like, oh, I met this fucking great guy and hey, he happens to be black. No, it's sort of like, I'm getting mine. I'm getting mine, girl, or whatever.
Well, it's not that. I think it's more or less like, oh, I'm gonna experiment, like, not experiment, but in quotes, experiment. And it's like, you're not experimenting, you're just being dumb. Like, I mean, at a certain point, like, you have to realize that number one, like, you're probably not dating the right person anyways. But number two, do you think that black guy is going to deal with your shit? Like, no, they're not. They're going to move on to the next chick. They're going to move on to the next chick that's going to give them some pussy. So, and I'm not trying to make any stereotypes here. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, like, these white chicks just don't get it. And by the way, I'm not just talking about, them trying to be a different race just to impress a guy, but I'm talking about, like, everything encompassing, and it does seem to be mostly white chicks, like, it's just very, very weird how some of these chicks act, and I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get, like, what's, number one, why do you act that way? But number two, why don't you just go get help? Because clearly you need some help. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a way of, go get some help. Like, you obviously need help. There's something wrong with you. Go get help. It's very that simple. For guys, it's that simple. For me, if I needed help, I would go and get help. Because, and it's a perfect example is, me going through the transformation that I did. Now I'm a fat fuck because of COVID, but it's you go from going into a diabetic situation to now being in a healthy situation, and diabetes is not even on your radar. Like, that's good. You know what I mean? And see, that's the thing. Like, once COVID's over with, I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing to keep myself healthy and to keep my weight down, because I have to do that. I don't want to end up like my father. He has type 2 diabetes. He has leukemia, which is another thing that I have to make sure I get tested for every once in a while. And because it seems like all of our family members so far have had it, which is wonderful at the end of the day. But you know what I'm saying, man? It's just, you gotta do things to make yourself better, and these women don't do that. And that goes for you too. I mean, like we were saying before, like, that goes for you too. You gotta make yourself better, but that's not for a woman. That's for your kid. So, I mean, fuck a woman. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
You gotta love me as a fat fucker.
and that's another thing. Like, you gotta love yourself for who you are before you can love somebody else. Because if you go and start dating somebody and you don't even know what the fuck you want, like, there's no point in dating anybody until you know, okay, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes you'll be dating somebody and you don't even, and you're like, oh, this isn't going to be something that lasts for a long time. And then you realize, oh shit, this actually might last for a long time. Yeah. That happens, but it is what it is. Dating work sucks. Thank God I don't have to do it. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. And during COVID, Marron. Oh fuck. Hell no. Hell no. I wouldn't, dude. I wouldn't like. It'd have to be over video. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing is like I don't mind, like I'll go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? There was a girl I was talking to, like I said, the real high strung one. You know, we go and have conversations and stuff like that, and that's the whole thing is that things were going pretty fucking nice. But then like after that weird blow up, I'm like, I can't, you know, I'm not gonna deal with that fucking energy. You know what I'm saying? If I'm dealing with that shit now, and you know things are still in the beginning, you know, what do you want to do when things get like really fucking committed? You know, so.
Well, yeah, you don't want to date somebody that's just going to be all over the place. That's just, you know, that's just not what you want. And you know, especially at the beginning of a relationship or you just talking, like you see that's a big fucking red like warning right there. So
yeah.
But yeah. So we've talked enough about this. I think.
So let's. Okay, once again, Rochester is in the news, and I guess we go from the sad fucking social life to just sad news in general. And
And the sad part is a lot of people don't know the whole situation.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not. I honestly haven't seen the video yet. I keep seeing links to the video. I keep hearing about it online. I keep seeing.
So I mean, I can give you like kind of a brief rundown of what happened. At least it's to my understanding. So. Basically, this 9-year-old girl, the mom called 911 on her because she was having like a mental episode. First of all, when this was going down, there was only one officer initially. And by the way, apparently we already have the mental the mental division, whatever it's called here in Rochester, all set up and ready to be used. So why this person why they're not going after my cat right now, I don't know. But it just doesn't make sense why they weren't called to the scene. I guess maybe they don't have it completely set up. Maybe that's what it is. But you know, it's just it's interesting to see that, you know, it's not. I'm gonna kill this fucking cat. It's just very, very weird that, you know, she's, you know, that it was a mental illness call and there was an officer there. And okay, first of all, he didn't use lethal force, so we gotta give the officer at least something good out of the situation because he did his job. He didn't just go and shoot this kid. He handcuffed her. And when she went too far, he maced her. And apparently he maced her in the car. I didn't see the video myself. But I understand the outrage, but you got to see the whole situation. Because the mother showed up on the scene and starting shit and started riling up this kid. Like, and the officer is trying to handle the mom, the kid, and everything else that's going on because I guess people showed up and were trying to video, and then the mom started yelling at the bystander, and then, you know, it was like this situation that blew up into something it shouldn't have. And
from what I understand, like the house,
eventually,
the little girl's household was fucking chaotic. You know,
it was bad.
You know, like
bad.
You know,
yeah, it's bad.
To have a 9-year-old fucking wander out in the street crying and shit like that, you know, it shows that the fucking house is not in order.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing that kills me about it is like this 9-year-old obviously lives with this mom that was causing all the problems and shit. But she basically is now filing against the city to try to get money. And I'm like, how does that make sense when you caused this situation in the first
people that are fucked up, you know, you don't see the forest from the trees. Like people that live fucked up lives don't realize their lives are fucked up, you know, because they're in the middle of all the bullshit.
Yeah, and you know, Jarrell commented on my post, and I was trying to explain to him, like, dude, you're not seeing the whole situation. Like, it's not about the police officer. It's about the fucking mom started this whole situation and then continued to escalate it to where this officer pretty much had no choice but to mace that 9-year-old to calm her down and stop her from doing what she was doing. Like, it's a shitty situation, but that officer shouldn't be fired for it. He was doing his job. And there was 2 other officers on the scene that eventually showed up too. Mm-hmm. Thank God, to try to calm things and get things into a good manner, because, you know, it's like, oh, well, because I think she did an interview. I overheard it earlier, and then she was talking about, well, you shouldn't mace a 9-year-old, and I'm like, and you shouldn't be riling up the 9-year-old. Like, you caused your daughter to go to, and I'm guessing they took her to St. Mary's because that's where they take all the people that have a mental episode. Like, you caused your daughter to have a mental breakdown. Like, who are you? Like, how do you think that you deserve any money? And I'm going to tell you right now, if the city of Rochester gives her fucking money, I'm done.
I mean, look, anybody could sue for
done.
anything. You know, that's. I mean, so just take that with a grain of salt. Anybody could, say that they're the victim or whatever. Not that it's ever going to happen. So, I mean, just because she applied doesn't mean she's going to get a fucking penny.
Dude, every city, every time that something like this happens,
yeah, people see it as their payday.
They always settle, and they always settle, and they always settle and give them millions of dollars when they don't deserve anything. Because here's the thing. Here's what you're not understanding about it. Well, actually, you probably do. You probably are going to understand about it. Whatever the city gives this woman, it's going to go to her, not the 9-year-old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's one of those situations where you just go, like, from outside of Rochester, you don't see the whole situation, but people in Rochester are literally sitting here going, why the fuck hasn't the mother been arrested?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if you can charge her with anything, but that woman should have been arrested for trying to get, for doing whatever she did to her daughter to set her off in the first place. And then to come on the scene and fucking sit there and continue to escalate it. Like, Chris, like, if I were the officers there and I got fired, if they get fired from this, I would be suing this city because I have just cause. Like, what am I supposed to do in that situation? Especially if I'm the only officer there. Like, by the way, I didn't use lethal force. I didn't beat the child. I maced her, which is a non-lethal chemical. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we were talking about, I mean, what's gonna be next? If I tase a 9-year-old, are you gonna sit there and treat me like shit? Like, I'm not trying to defend the officers here because I don't know the whole situation myself. But the main thing of this whole situation and in hearing that, it just makes me go, like, why are we talking about the officers when we should be talking about this mom and what's going on in this household?
I mean, that's the whole thing is that, like, there's people, there's people out there who fucking instigate problems. And unfortunately, those people need to be fucking dealt with, because I bet if the fucking mother was dealt with properly, she wouldn't be raising her daughter this way, and trust me, I understand her frustration as a father of a 10-year-old. I understand, this and that. And then even like the other day, like me and my daughter were in the supermarket and there was another little girl. The girl had to be about 4 or 5 years old, and she's there with the mom, or whatever. And then the mom is calling her a fucking bitch, and get the fuck over, you fucking little bitch, or whatever. Like, literally saying that to like a 5-year-old. And like, I'm like, you don't fucking deserve to have your fucking kid. If that's your mentality, and like I said, look, trust me, I get stressed the fuck out, and I'll yell, and I would never call my fucking innocent daughter a fucking bitch. Saying like, how you gotta call a 5-year-old a fuck? Now look, I understand you get frustrated, even just yelling like, ah, I almost get that, but to verbally attack your child. Not you, I'm saying people speak through language. Like people express their thoughts. What they say is a very clear indicator of how they think. And if she's saying that to a fucking 4 or 5-year-old child, it shows you where she is in her life, where she sees her own kid, and there's people who just like, like in my own situation, I fought for years trying to get the custody of my daughter. I wanted custody. And unfortunately, the fucking system is so fucking rigged for the mom that, my daughter ended up going with her mom, and I don't want to speak.
That's a whole other conversation we can have on a podcast.
I want to go to the judge and say, look, can you see that I was right? Can you see that there was a fucking problem in her mother's house?
It's not worth your time.
I'm just saying, and once again, not to speak ill of the mother, but I'm saying I'm not speaking ill of her. I'm just saying is, the court, these courts and these people who shouldn't have their kids. And not that I was, fighting her, they're saying that she shouldn't have had her kid, but obviously there was a fucking problem in that household. You know what I'm saying? And I sit there and I wave my hands and I say there's a fucking problem, and I get ignored. And thankfully, when all is said and done, my daughter wasn't, she's emotionally hurt and stuff like that. She lost her mother and shit like that. But like, thankfully, my daughter's not crippled or handicapped or, what I'm saying? Because of the horrible things that, not to say horrible, and once again, I may even exaggerating, but from the unstable environment at a parent's house could really, really fuck up a kid. And
Right.
and as much as I have, I have my own fucking issues or whatever, but like the last thing I would do is would hurt my fucking kid, hurt my child, or, in a way that, and that's the whole thing is that these people, like that woman should not have her kid. That the mother of that kid that got, and the kid and it's obvious just seeing how a 9-year-old's acting, shows that there's a fucking giant fucking red flag in that house. And, unfortunately the cops didn't handle it. And the whole thing that kills me is that, like, that was in my neighborhood. That was very close to where I live. And coincidentally last year, and it was not around this time last year, but just about this time because it was still snowing, when the cops, when they had the death of Daniel Prude. And once again, another situation where the guy needed fucking mental help. And the cops show up on the scene, and it's like, when you call 911, the cops are going to be the first one that shows up. They're the ones in the cars. They're the ones ready to go. I don't know. Maybe we should start having these mental health people driving around in cars also, or something, because.
I mean, for me, it's like I said, like, if they already have this new mental health department set up, why weren't they sent out for this call? You know what I mean? Like, and it just, for me, it's like, you need to be, number one, you need to be arresting the mom, because the mom obviously caused this to happen. I don't know what they would arrest her for if they can. But the point of the matter is like how you were saying, like, it's how you talk to your children, and it's the example you set for your children. You can't just sit here and be like, F this, F that, get the fuck back here, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing that in front of your kids like that. Like, you got to be stern with them, and you got to be like, hey, get your ass back here. That's fine. But, like, using swear words in that, like, no. Like, you're setting a bad example. Also, I've seen kids that they live with the mom, for example, and this could happen to if they live with the dad, but whatever. I'm just using this as an example of something that I know that I've seen, where, like, this kid was living with his mom, and the mom was just very oblivious to, number one, his needs, but number two, that the way that she treated him made him hate her, to the point of where at the first chance of being out of that situation, he's going to be out of that situation, like, because he hates her. And it's those kinds of things, when I see that, it just makes me sit there and go, like, do you not understand your children? And by the way, if your child is being like that, they're going to give you indications that they're being like that. They're going to push back on you, and they're going to sit there and say to you, oh, well, I should be better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if you don't do better for your kid, then your kid's going to be just like you in a bad way. And you don't need that. Like, you don't want that for your kid. I mean, especially now, Chris, like, these days, like, it wasn't like, I mean, I was talking about this the other day, like, it's not like how when we were kids. Like, I mean, the price of shit is too high now. Like, for example, you could go get a Whopper for 99 cents half the time. Now it's 2 Whoppers for $6. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck? Same thing with, like, if you remember when I was a kid, McDonald's would have, like, I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesdays was cheeseburgers Tuesdays was hamburgers for like 30 cents, and Wednesdays was cheeseburgers for 39 cents. Dude, it was a hit. Everybody was going to fucking McDonald's those days. Like, and like, so you look at something like, you look at like how much the price of things have gone up. And the reason I'm relating that to a kid is because if a kid gets a job now, they're going to go and they're going to be like, fuck you. Don't you fucking say that to me. You don't know me. Because they're going up somebody that has authority. And they think, well, they're being like my parent, so I'm going to tell them to fuck off too. And then they're going to lose their job, and they're not going to have any money, and they're eventually just going to not have anything. So it's one of those things where you have to be a good parent all the way around and set the example and be there for your kid and be there to talk to them and be there to understand them. Yes, you harass them, and yes, you joke with them and you make fun of them because that's who you are. You're a father. You do that. You make them laugh. But you also have to be serious with them, and you also have to set boundaries. And kids will respond to that. So, it's just one of those things where I just sit there and I go, you need to be a better parent. And we do need to start looking at that situation too. Granted, that's not everything that's going wrong with our society, but we need to start looking in the homes as well. And by the way, when I say looking in the homes, I don't want a police officer to break down a door because he heard a rumor that you were treating your kid like shit. I'm talking about if like, for example, a school hears from a kid, my mom or my dad or both are treating me like garbage, I don't know what to do. It should be state mandated that you send somebody there, kind of like CPS, but something, different, to go into the home and say, what is going on? Because your kid is saying this, and that person becomes your kid's advocate and says, what are we doing? What do we need to do to change things here? Because he or she is unhappy. Mm-hmm. They want to be in a loving environment. What do we need to do to make that happen? If the parents can't be parents, take that child out of the home and put him or her in a home that's loving and caring.
She was trying to sink her claws into that guy. I didn't mean to make a light of it, but I see what you're saying.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's we got to look at everything.
He's only going to stick around if I don't have his kid.
I mean, we just have to look. Asshole. we have to stop looking at the police singularly and look at everything around it as well, because it's not always the police's fault. Yeah, it's the police that end up coming and having to arrest that teenager or that child. But guess what? How did that teenager or child get to that point?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if the parents threw them out in the street, that's the parents' fault. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with a gun. If a child takes a gun from a home, it should be the parents should be in trouble. They should be brought up on charges as well and arrested for their child doing whatever they did with the gun. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's like, okay, like, also let's stop fucking relying on the police for everything. You know what I'm saying? And this has nothing to do with defund the police or anything like that. This has to do with more of like, you know what? If there was issues in that fucking house, maybe an aunt or an uncle should have fucking stepped in. Maybe somebody should have fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe a neighbor or a friend should have stepped in. Or maybe, someone should have said, that woman shouldn't be raising a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to start policing ourselves. We have to start, keeping our own selves in check and keeping our friends in check and keeping our fucking families in check. Because, before this escalates to the point where, this fucking child is running on the street, maybe someone should have fucking intervened beforehand. And a lot of people turn a fucking blind eye and all this other shit, and it's, look, I live in the fucking hood. I got fucking drug dealers across the street from me. You know what I'm saying? I've been very fucking vocal about that, but not that I'm gonna be fucking Charles Bronson and I'm gonna fucking go and start cracking skulls across the street, because that's not my job. But it's like making sure that shit doesn't get out of fucking hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, and once again, I can only be in charge of my own home and stuff like that. But, I have friends and I try to keep my friends in check, and my friends keep me in check and stuff like that. I'm just saying is that, people have the community needs to police itself and stop worrying. And don't get me wrong. Look, a big part of another part of the problem is that, like when Daniel Prude got killed, look, I lived in that neighborhood also. like everywhere I live, every neighborhood I live, cops kill people. It's a big chunk of police officers, and let's be real here for a second, are white guys who live in the suburbs, and then they join the police academy and end up sticking them in the fucking hood where they don't want to be and stuff like that. We need more people from the hood to apply for the police department. We need.
Well, but that's part of the problem, Chris, is these police departments, like down in Texas, when I remember, for example, after that one huge mass killing that happened, I can't remember which city it was. This was a few years back, but the police chief said, we need people from the community. We want people to apply from the community. Please do come apply. And nobody does. And that's part of the problem. It's like, the Rochester Police Department was talking about, well, we want to hire, if we hire you, you have to live in the city of Rochester. No, people don't want to live in the city. They don't want to go to the city school district because of how crappy it is. They don't want to have to do these things. So if you're going to bring people in, yes, there should be people from the community, but you also have to incentivize these cops to come into the city and do this job because, I mean, look at what's happening, Chris. Like, there's no fucking, you know, there's like, if I wanted to be a police officer right now, I wouldn't. Because the first time that I do something even remotely close to being wrong, I'm going to be in the media and I'm going to be prosecuted without any, you know, like judgment properly being done. And I could be fired for doing my job correctly. You see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I give cops a lot of credit and I give them a lot of slack. And that may sound wrong, but you know, it's a hard job. We're talking about some of these officers working 50, 60 hours a week, and they shouldn't be. And I mean, I don't know about you, Chris, but if I don't get enough sleep, I can't fucking concentrate on shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I got friends that are cops. I have family that are cops. You know, I have my own background in law enforcement. You know, I'm always going to back the blue. And look, in no way am I justifying any of the actions of those cops the other day, or the cops that had to deal with Daniel Prude and shit like that. You know, cops are human beings. They make mistakes. And once again, you know, they don't want to deal with fucking mental cases. They don't want to deal with fucking mental issues. You know, saying their job is to arrest crooks. But then again, you know, it's also, you know, when you spend your whole day committing to order, bringing order to chaos, you know, unfortunately, you get a little out of hand of, I mean, you know, what they did with that little girl, you know, they got out of hand and they handcuffed and pepper sprayed a 9-year-old girl, you know, but like, you know, how are you supposed to be a pussy when you're with the 9-year-old girl, but then be a hard ass when you're dealing with like legit drug dealers? You know, it's hard. You can't expect a human being to go to those extremes in an 8-hour shift. It's not right, and it's not fair, and it's not, you know, and it's like, you know, and once again, you know, there is that culture shock of guys who live outside the city, who've never been in the city, never lived in the city, you know, who don't understand, you know, don't understand ghetto culture, and then come into the city and then not know how to fucking deal with people, you know, and I mean, yeah, you learn on the job and stuff like that, but you know, and especially in this day and age where there's a hostility towards police and stuff like that, and everybody has their fucking phones out, and everybody's looking to fucking, you know, and everyone's looking to, you know, they want to take your job away from you just because, you know, you're a fucking cop, and you know, these people, all cops are bastards and all this shit, fuck 1, 2, and fuck 12, or whatever the fuck that means, you know. You know, it's a stressful fucking job, but you know, if that's the case, then fucking police yourselves. Keep your own fucking block in order. You know what I'm saying? Don't let shit get out of hand where someone has to fucking call the cops.
And here's something that I think is very important to say about this, and we probably should move on to the next thing that we're going to talk about. But it's interesting because out of this election, we found out that people don't want to rip these police departments apart because they like what's going on. So a lot of people voted to get rid of Trump, but kept a lot of Republicans because they feel like these Republicans are not going to get rid of the police. And, you know, as somebody that is a Democrat, but is more of an independent moderate, I don't want to see the police department ripped apart. What I want to see is I want to see the police departments get what they need so that way they're successful. So, for example, why in 2021 we don't have fucking body cameras federally mandated for every single fucking police department in the United States of America still blows my fucking mind. Like, it's not just good for the victim, but it's also good for the police officer, because guess what? The camera doesn't focus, like, it's not biased. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not biased. It will tell the truth. It shows you the truth. It shows you what happened. And then either the police officer is wrong or the victim is wrong. And then guess what? There you go. Like, it blows that's just an example of something that blows my mind, where I'm like, why don't we have that federally mandated? Why aren't there rules like they were talking about during the debates? Like, why aren't there federally mandated rules for police departments to follow? Why? Because we're not doing our jobs. That's why. So we need to do that. We need to outlaw things that just don't make sense. I mean, the guy putting his knee on the back of somebody's neck, you know what I mean? Like, I can't help you there, dude. You fucked up. Like, you can't do that to some dude, like, you know? And it's just like, we need to get rid of the things that shouldn't be happening, but we need to keep the things that are successful. And we need, for God's sakes, to take shit off of these officers' plates that they shouldn't have to be doing. Okay? They should not have to go to mental health, like this one right here, mental health situations. There should be somebody to handle that. Yes, there should be an officer with them, but obviously they don't step in unless the mental health person can't handle the situation. And by the way, I hate to say this, but this situation may have ended up the same exact way if there was a mental health person there and they basically said, look, I'm trying to calm this girl down. She's not coming down. I need you to use a non-lethal thing against her to stop her from doing this and take her to the hospital so she can get the help right now because she's going to do something. She may kill herself. That may still happen, and people are just going to have to accept it because it's not like these officers used lethal force. Mm-hmm. You know, I just really hope that we go and we get these officers what they truly need, because at the end of the day, we're not giving them what they need. I mean, let's take this out of the black neighborhood. Let's look at the Capitol for a fucking example. Why the fuck there wasn't police officers and National Guard at that Capitol during a fucking Trump rally that they knew could have turned violent? Still fucking blows my mind right now. Like, that is another situation where you go, why did the police at the Capitol building not even have everything that they need? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it blows my mind, Chris, that we're not seeing, like, we're just trying to cater to one group and we're not catering to the other and making sure that they have the help that they need. You know, it just blows my fucking mind. But I think we've kind of mined this long enough. This is what happens when we haven't done a podcast in a while.
And then, okay, so, all right, a few other things. Okay, the other big thing in the news. Okay, so, well, since our last episode, okay, we had the swearing in of Joe Biden. We had the giant unstoppable Bernie meme. Bernie Sanders wearing the
the anime ones, man, are
hilarious.
Yeah,
people just straight up animated Bernie Sanders like an anime cartoon beginning. You know,
Rick and Morty. Instead of it being Rick and Morty, it was Rick and Bernie, or Bernie and Morty and Bernie, or something.
And so, I mean, that was, you know, I mean, we can't let that pass. I mean, there's really nothing to it. You know, he was, I love the, you know, just, you know, he was sitting there, and, you know, he's obviously, you know, he's very. Like, I mean, Bernie's an outspoken guy, and you know, and from what I understand, Biden is going to put him on his cabinet and stuff like that, and Bernie's going to do what he can, you know, once again, and
No, Bernie won't be in his cabinet.
I thought he was going to be in his cabinet.
No, they agreed that he needed to stay in the Senate because of what's going on there, because if they take him out, he's going to be screwed.
Oh, okay. Okay. For some reason, I thought he was going to be part of the cabinet. So, you know, my point being is that, you know, and you know, it is, you know, to see Bernie there, who was, you know, presidential candidate at one point, you know, sitting there, you know, arms crossed, you know, look like he could be bothered, like coming out for the day was just irritating to him. And once again, let's not forget that it's fucking January and he's like a 70-year-old man in like East Coast fucking freezing weather with no hat, you know, yeah, okay, a thick ski jacket and
well, he is the senator from Vermont.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying is that, you know, like, you know, he's sitting there like, you know, like, you know, there's a million other places I'd rather be than sitting through this inauguration and shit like that. But I thought it was, you know, it was pretty funny. You know, and what did Bernie do? He fucking turned around. He took that image, you know, turned it into a charity, and I think like he made, you know, over $1 million or something.
1.8 million he donated.
Almost $2 million donated as charity over something that, you know, started out as a joke. But once again, you know, see, that's that's how you handle a situation. You know what I'm saying? Ride that fucking wave while you can, and use it while you can. And let me tell you, because I looked it up, you know, they didn't make him in fucking 5X. You know, if they had him in 5X, I probably would have bought a Bernie fucking sweater. But that's how you handle a situation. You laugh in its face and you make the best of the situation. Speaking of money and things of that nature, the GameStop stonks controversy. Okay, where to begin with this? Okay, so there are people. Did you ever watch the movie The Big Short? Talking about the housing crisis of 2008 or whatever.
No, I haven't watched that.
And I watched The Big Short, and it's one of those movies where you almost have to pause it and rewind it and watch it again. Trying to figure out exactly how certain stocks make their money, and where we live in a world where GameStop being a business that people feel is not going to be around in the next 2 or 3 years. The next 2 or 3 years, GameStop will probably, if things were to go the way they were going. But let's just say this controversy never happened. GameStop would believe to shut down in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. Because, streaming is becoming more prevalent. I mean, both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 have totally disc-free options. There's a PlayStation 5 that doesn't even have a disc slot in it. It's meant for you to download media. You download everything to it. That bothers me. I'm still an old man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, I stream a lot of movies and stuff like that. I'm not of that generation. I still like physical media. I don't like the idea of my media existing in the cloud that PlayStation owns or Sony owns or Xbox owns, because one, what happens if your internet goes down? Two, and I've mentioned this in the past about there were these people that the guy that wrote remember that movie Bright that was on Netflix? Max Landis. It was a movie Bright, and it was written by this guy named Max Landis. And Max Landis got into a lot of controversy because he was Me Too'd in Hollywood. And there were these people who had his comic book on one of the big comic book, sites that, they had the digital version. Well, okay, so Max Landis got canceled, for the lack of a better term. And then the comic book company, the digital people who owned the comic book company, dropped him altogether because he was quote unquote canceled. And I'm not saying what they did was right or wrong, but then all the people who had that comic was deleted from their library. And were contacted by email saying, Max Landis has been canceled. We're not going to support him anymore. And so we took this comic book all out of your collection, and you now have a $5 credit to use towards other comics. Now, love him or hate him, if I bought a comic book, or if I bought a book, if I bought a book written by Jeffrey Epstein, let's use that. That's my book, and I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do with it. When you own something that lives in the fucking cloud, and I'm pretty sure there's some sort of, there's something in the user agreement that says, saying yes to this user agreement, you agree that we control the content, and any given time we can take it away from you. I don't like that world. I'm an old man. Call me an old man, but I don't like the fact that, we're moving to a world where everything's not going to be physical media. Everything's going to be on the internet. Everything's going to be in the cloud because they control the cloud. Right now, I have my DVDs, I have my Blu-rays. If I want to pop in a Blu-ray or DVD at any given fucking moment, I can, and I could pop it on my PlayStation. My PlayStation is my Blu-ray player, which actually that's a lie, because if I didn't have internet, my PlayStation, when I first had my PlayStation and I was having issues with my internet, I couldn't even get my PlayStation to play Blu-rays, and that makes no sense. Why do I need to go online for my fucking Blu-ray player to work? It makes no.
Keep in mind, here's the other thing too. Keep in mind that there are people still playing games on the PS3.
Oh yeah.
There's still people playing games on earlier versions of the Xbox. My son will play on his PS3, and there'll be people still playing older versions of Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
Oh yeah, no, there's still obviously, and that's where GameStop was making its money. It was making its money from the second market. The people trading in games. The people who have that much fucking disposable income. And that's the joke. You come in with the game that you bought yesterday for $60, and you bring it to GameStop, and we'll give you $6 credit or something like that. Because then they go and they put that back on the shelf and put it for $50. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they made their profit. And at the very least, you know, you can hate GameStop for what they did, but at least they were honest about it. It's not like they said, oh, we're going to give you so much credit. No, they were, and you know, as soon as you walked in the door, they'll say, you know, oh yeah, I do know you bought this game yesterday for $60. I'm going to give you $6 for it now. It's the same thing like when you buy a brand new car. You know, the joke is, you know, the minute you drive that car off the lot, it drops at least 50% or something to that effect. You know, so don't shit on GameStop. And trust me, I'm not defending GameStop because they have horrible business practices. What I'm saying is what they're doing, auto dealerships do. You know, they were existing in the world of, it was a secondary market where people turned in their old games, because, you know, there's these, you know, there's these fucking mutants out there that, like, you know, they have to have the newest games, you know, I think the last time I traded in games was like 2011. And even then it was because I wanted to get Portal 2 and I didn't have enough money at the time. So like, you know, I traded in games, you know, like I only did it because like I was like financially fucked up, you know what I'm saying? And even then, okay, yes, I've sold games on eBay, but it wasn't, you know, once again, that was more like a survival thing. But there's people who like, they're so quick to keep up with the fucking Joneses that they go and they, you know, they'll be more than happy to sell the game they bought last week for $60 for $6 because now there's a brand new game that came out this week and I can't have that old game that came out last week. I need the new game that's coming out this week. And so GameStop was making a nice profit off of those people, those fucking fanatics.
Well, I mean,
we all know that guy.
It's like you're talking in the past tense here because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, when I was going to get my son video games for Christmas, like there were lines at GameStop. I mean, they're still raking in money.
Like the game, actually not my local GameStop now since I moved a couple months ago, but my old local GameStop, which I still go to. I was there the night the Xbox was going to come out. And, it was the night before the Xbox came out. And there were guys sitting outside the store. And the funny thing is that, like, technically, yes, they were being sold at GameStop, but, like, each GameStop got, like, 2 Xboxes. And so those guys already had their pre-order. But they were so fanatical that they were literally going to stay overnight so they can get it at, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning and then go home and play with it. You know, like if you know you got the only 2 in the store, you could go home and sleep and just wake up at like 4:30, you know, drive to the store, pick it up and go home. And I mean, that was like a thing for them. You know, that's a thing you do just because you're with your friends and you're stupid. But, you know, yeah, no, I do understand that, you know, GameStop for the most part still had a couple more years to go. You know, once again, look, I'm such an old man, you know, I want physical media to still be around. Okay. But, you know, all right, back to the longer story. You know, there was these hedge funds guys who they're hedging their bets. They're betting against GameStop. And it's so weird to think that we live in a world where you could literally go on a stock market and bet for a company's demise. Now, with that being said, when you incentivize the idea of letting a company go under for your benefit, you're going to do everything you can to help that company go under. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't believe we live in a world where, you know, something like that happens. It's such a vulture, like, and you know, and I guess that's what capitalism is, you know, make money any way possibly you can. But, you know, so what happened was, you know, then there was the Reddit subgroup, Wall Street Bets, and it was all about guys, you know, just trying to, guys, you know, sharing stuff, stock information and stuff like that. It's the internet. And, you know, they had and let's be real, they had conspired, let's all buy so many shares of GameStop that it will undo the effects of the hedge fund bet. It'll put the hedge fund bet, it would put the hedge fund in jeopardy because there's this mysterious fucking surge of people buying a stock that people were expecting for a company to die in the next couple of years. And then, you know, hold the line, because the guy has to buy the stock back at a certain price. And look, and the guy is obviously a billionaire, the Morton Holdings or whatever the name of the company was. And, you know, they had to pay back. And there were people who made, you know, when you bought stock at $17 and then sold it at $400-something. It was guys paying, like one kid paid off his fucking student loans. A couple guys did like nice things, like, they went to the GameStop and they bought like, 100 Nintendo Switches and donated it to like a children's hospital and stuff like that. But, a lot of people came out very lovely with a situation like that. Now, that being said, let me just sit here for a second. I'm not, let's play devil's advocate or whatever you want to say. What they did was manipulate the fucking stock price. That was a conspiracy, and for all intents and purposes, a very illegal activity, what they did. Now, that being said, what's not to say that the hedge fund people aren't doing the exact same thing? Hedge fund people, except, they're dealing with bigger numbers, betting against a company, you're sort of, you're putting the death knell on them. You're kind of isolating, it's taking that sick dog and, putting it outside and letting it die in the fucking cold instead of dying in your house. These people sort of accelerated the process. So, yes, what the Redditors did, in my opinion, was extremely manipulative and illegal, but is it any different than what people on Wall Street do every day? This was just out in the open. This was,
I was going to say, like, I don't think it's illegal because, I mean, people all the time probably go up on social media and say, hey, you need to buy insert stock, and nobody does it. So, I mean, while I get that, yeah, people decided for once to just go and buy a shitload of stock and elevate a company's stock to a price that it shouldn't have been,
that's conspiracy.
It is what it is. I mean, I mean, a kid, what was it? Like a kid that's had GameStop stock like all this time. I think he made like a couple grand off of this.
Yeah, the people, I mean, obviously anybody who had the stock before last week, you know what I'm saying? Anybody, if you had stock before 2021, okay, then you were probably a legit holder. But, for that one day, and it was like a meme. It was very much like how the Bernie meme spread. Everyone decided, okay, everyone on this page, let's buy fucking GameStop stock, or as they call it, stonks. And the funny thing is, then everyone was using the Robinhood app. And the whole thing is, I listen to a million podcasts and shit like that. Robinhood has been advertising on podcasts for at least the past 2 years. And Robinhood was always, hey, take your fucking pocket change and use that money to invest, if you're going to spend $20, buying fucking fast food, why don't you take the $20 and invest in the stock market? And yes, I hate these people that are like, oh, but what Robinhood is doing is they're taking your information and they're selling it to, yeah. If you're on Facebook or Twitter or any kind of fucking social media, we live in a world where, yes, everything you do is being monitored, is being recorded, is being collated and flipped back around to be used, maybe not used against you, but used for informational purposes. You are part of an algorithm, especially in the fact that the service is quote unquote free. Robinhood is free. I mean, it's not free because they take a chunk of change when you cash out, but for you to walk in off the street and say, here's $100, I want to invest in something, and they just automatically do it before all this controversy. Everything you do, when you go to the fucking store and they ask to scan your shopper's card, are you part of our shoppers program? What do you think that shoppers card is doing? It's collecting all the fucking data on all the purchases you made in that fucking purchase. They know you went to the store on Tuesday. They know you went to the store on Saturday. They know on Tuesday you bought deodorant. On Saturday you bought condoms. They know what the fuck you're doing. On Tuesday you got the date with the girl. On Saturday you fucked her because you bought condoms. They know that you paid with, younger people pay with debit cards, older people pay with cash. Saying, oh, this guy has to be, if he's paying with cash, he's got to be over 50. Saying they build these fucking, so like these people like it's a big conspiracy that Robinhood is collecting your data. No shit. If you're on fucking Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on fucking Twitter, people are collecting your fucking data. And then the big backlash happened and Robinhood started restricting the buys. After those days where all the stocks went ridiculous, Robinhood fucking said everyone you can no longer buy stocks. And I made a post about this. It's like, and then people started getting mad at Robinhood. Oh, you could just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were arguing about how Twitter said, Twitter has all the right they can. They're not to block Donald Trump. Well, Robin, and once again, keep in mind, I'm rooting for the Redditors. I may be speaking against them and calling them conspirators and saying that they shouldn't be making money or whatever. I'm rooting for the little guy. I'm happy that they fucking made a hedge stock go fucking, bankrupt or whatever, or, using the rules of Wall Street and how Wall Street turned into a little crying bitch the minute they start losing money to people who weren't, when you're outside of their little boys club, I'm glad they lost money because, hey, look, you're if you have $1 billion to invest in a business, you can afford to lose money. So, I'm rooting for the little guys. But I'm playing devil's advocate by saying, if Robinhood, the app itself, decides, no, you can no longer sell stocks, you can no longer buy stocks on this site, they can do that. The same way we said if Twitter wants to kick off Trump, that's their right to do so. You can get mad and stomp your feet, but they're not breaking the fucking law. And, my point being is that, I'm glad the Redditors did what they did. And you know what? Now, what are all these Redditors? Guys in their 20s, guys in their 30s, guys in their 40s. Our generation, nobody raised us to learn about fucking stocks. I mean, we all had that one friend that was really good with finances who might have gotten into the stock market and shit like that. I have friends that like literally went to fucking Wall Street when I was in my 20s. I had friends that like were, watched the movie Boiler Room one so many times. They watched The Wolf of Wall Street and they wanted to go into the stock market, or just the movie Wall Street. With Michael Douglas, I know people like that, and they went into it, and they live a good life and stuff like that. But now, hundreds or thousands of people have now opened. This is like a gateway drug into the stock market. I guess one bright side of this is that now that there's people really looking at the stock market and also shining a big spotlight on the fact that shit like hedge funds even exist, that there's companies out there who bet against other companies so they can fail, so they can pick the fucking bones of the company, or in the 80s, like the hostile takeovers and shit like that, and stuff like that. So I don't know. Did you want to say?
I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to. I don't see GameStop getting going anywhere yet. They have started downsizing a lot. So I mean, Rochester has like 50 of them basically. So they've been slowly getting rid of the ones that aren't doing any business. So I think that'll help them. I understand what you were talking about before, but and as far as Robinhood goes, like, first of all, fuck you for not sponsoring this. Second of all, it annoys me that I understand that they may have the right to stop doing that, but you're basically saying that you're not allowed to purchase any stock by doing that.
Well, they shut off the ones that were getting all the attention, and I guess we'll go in a second about AMC, but AMC, Nokia, GameStop, Blockbuster, they had said they had put up a certain list of.
Now, okay, I'll give you this. Like, okay, so if Blockbuster, which miraculously that stock is still available to purchase, which I don't understand why that is, but whatever. If you're seeing a stock like that getting purchased, okay, stop that one. But for you to go, we're gonna shut down GameStop and AMC and all these other things from letting you purchase, you're kind of defeating the purpose of your app. And I didn't watch the interview that he did with Chris Cuomo, the CEO of Robinhood, but he really didn't have like a good reason for why they did it. It was just, we just shut it down because it was doing so well. That's not a good enough reason.
They shut it down because they're owned by. They're owned by the company that got fucked, basically. Yeah. Melvin, whatever the hell, that's their daddy. And so that's why they did it, because it's like if you sold the gun to the guy who killed your father, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, I can't sell guns anymore. Yeah, it's because because that's why, they got spanked. But it's not really, you can't get mad at them. It's not their fault, and once, they if they wanted to restrict the app, they're more than they could do whatever the fuck they want. And I'm pretty sure they put it. There's
other apps out there too.
I mean, what I'm saying is there's that language in every fucking user agreement. You know, as soon as you sign that user agreement, you give away all your rights where that says, you know, we can change the rules mid fucking stream if we want. You know, I mean, is it immoral? Yes, not illegal. You know, but go on. I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say, like, you know, I'm trying, like, I would say, like, how do I put this? I don't think that we should be restricting people. We should be restricting that kind of thing, because then it exposes the other side of it where it goes, okay, the stock people can go and do this, but this app that people are using to purchase the stock can't. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't do one and then not do the other. And I think that's where a lot of the bullshit comes from. Is it's like, if you're going to allow the one thing, then you should be allowing the other.
But it's like, okay, like a company, like, it's a horrible fucking company. I hate them. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's closed on Sundays because their beliefs or whatever. They don't want to, you know, irreligion and shit like that. You know, and you know, let's just say one day KFC did really good. You know, you can't make Chick-fil-A like, oh, you should open up on Sundays because look at all the money KFC made. You can't force them. They could do what the fuck they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's if they want, they don't have to be open on Sundays. And Robinhood doesn't have to. You know, yes, up to that point they were letting you. You know, as long as you had money on their account, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted to it.
Yep. But not to interrupt you, but the problem with that analogy is, with that, using that example, is Chick-fil-A has always been closing on a Sunday since they began.
Oh, okay.
Robinhood has never restricted anything until now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a good business practice to fucking to spank all your customers.
And now the question is are you going to restrict everything going forward when something like this happens? Because if you're not, then you just and don't get me wrong, I'm sure the government's already looking at them for this anyways, but then the question comes, well, are you illegal? Are you doing something illegal? So, you know, I mean, honestly, Chris, like, if this was something that they were doing all along, I would be with you, but they're not. Yeah. They haven't been. So,
but I mean, they're not, they don't, you know, they can do whatever the, you know.
I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want, you know. But you can't just sit there and go, well, this stock is doing really well, and like these Redditors are saying things, so we're just going to shut this down. I don't recall anybody outside of Robinhood shutting down these stocks.
I was just saying, Robinhood was the one that made themselves the most accessible. And you know, and once again, I've heard them advertised on podcasts for the past like 2 years at the very least. Because way before all this shit happened, I'd always said to myself, man, I want to get into that. And you know, now I'm kicking myself enough for not be getting into it. You know, but then again, I'm on Reddit, but I'm not on Wall Street Bets or whatever.
And by the way, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, if I were to go and throw money at a stock that's doing that kind of thing, I would rather have like a stock agent. What is it? It's not a stock agent. I don't know what it's called.
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor, whatever. I would rather have them be there trading and then, you know, okay, throw a bunch of money at GameStop. Once you start to see that price go down, I need you to pull it. So that way I don't lose I don't lose money. Like, that's what you need. So, and I probably think that's why Robinhood stopped it, because they didn't want to get a lot of lawsuits. But it you know, again, like, if you're going to restrict one stock, you got to do it all. And by the way, the fact that you did it and nobody else didn't is a problem. So,
yeah, like I said, I believe their parent company was the company that got screwed out of that money, which is why they did it. And the whole thing is, and let's be real, you know what's going to happen? Maybe in a couple months down the line, they'll do another one of these things, and it's not going to be GameStop and AMC, and it'll be some other, you know, what other fucking business is going out of fucking, you know, it'll be newspapers or some shit, like, you know, it'll, you know, a magazine company or something. It'll be, you know, some business you know, some company, because, you know, part of the reason they did this, and once again, it wasn't like these Redditors were doing this for the love of GameStop or for the like, you know, because I know there's this, and I had put that in a meme that, you know, they were trying to help GameStop, and once again, they weren't doing this as all altruism. They weren't doing this as, GameStop is doing bad, let's go help them. They did it because they saw the vultures shorting GameStop. They're like, oh, these assholes are putting big money saying that GameStop is going to fail. So let's, they chose GameStop because GameStop was that limping gazelle, before the tiger showed up. And they were like, hey, let's help this gazelle, get up and running again and starve the fucking tigers, because starving the tigers will make us money. So what's going to happen in another couple months? They're going to do it again. It won't be as successful as the GameStop one, but it'll be, they're going to say, oh, let's go save, I don't know, whatever the fuck's going out of business, and they'll save it. And then, then the companies will react, and maybe they'll do it a third time. And then, this type of fucking activities, they're never going to see it again, because once again, if you coordinate something like that, technically it's like, it's conspiracy. It really is. And, if they really wanted to go after the guys who were like, it reminds me of the fucking raid on the Capitol. Saying this is stuff that happened. It was coordinated online. I'm pretty sure there's people out there that are logging every fucking entry and keeping track of everything. So even if it gets deleted on the actual server, it was recorded as soon as someone wrote it down. And, because they're like, oh, Joe Smith was behind the whole thing, then you could charge Joe Smith with fucking conspiracy because, this was conspiracy to defraud a hedge fund or whatever the case may be. Not defraud, maybe defraud is not the right word, but, to manipulate the market, and you're not supposed to manipulate the market. That's, it's supposed to be what happens naturally. But then again, betting for a company to die that's on its way to dying and you're a $1 billion company, you're sort of manipulating the market also just by your fucking presence in the room. So, I don't know. That's my my 2 cents on it. I know the big joke is supposed to be like this Doge coin. It was like a cryptocurrency. That people are like, I think that's going to be the next one to blow up from what I'm hearing on the internet, like a Bitcoin or whatever. And the whole thing is that like a lot of people it was around the time that the GameStop thing where people were doing it. It started at 8 cents, but so many people put money on it that it's now down to 3 cents. I guess, we'll see if, the predictions, the Dogecoin is supposed to be the next thing that's supposed to hop up. And once again, they may, and then after a while, then Robinhood would say, you can't buy Dogecoin or Dogecoin anymore. Or, you're going to restrict that, when it goes up $1 billion. And then, we'll see what happens, and once again, this will happen maybe 2 or 3 more times, and then, then Robinhood's going to say, no more, no mas. All right. Let me see. Before we go to break, let's see what else we have. Tom Brady going to the Super Bowl again. I don't like him, but shit. Fuck
that motherfucker.
Like, I hate that cocksucking motherfucker, but I'm hey, he's going to the Super Bowl. Where's my $1,400? Biden was your man. I mean, I supported Biden after Bernie dropped out. Where's my fucking $1,400, Paul? I'm gonna fucking invest in GameStop and get my $1,400.
Talk to the Republicans on that one.
Get my $1,400 back out of the. And I saw that as a meme where it's like, oh, you couldn't get your, you still got your $600 and waiting for the other $1,400. We just took it from a hedge fund. Yep. Modern problems call for modern solutions. Where the fuck is my money, Paul?
Well, it's coming. I mean, we all know it's going to happen. It's just when is it going to happen?
It was someone that shared a meme, not a meme. It was a post on Twitter, and it was like, girls, post the most petty reason you've ever dumped a guy, or like,
Oh, I didn't see this.
It was like post the most petty or like, after the first date or whatever, the most petty reasons for you to have not pull a guy out of your life. And there was some funny ones, guy picked his nose on the first date, or, the guy said, oh, you have to earn my respect or something like that. Just so you say some shit like that on a first date, you're kind of asking for no second date. Well, okay. 2 separate girls and not related, said the guy had a nicer or bigger ass than me. And that's why the guy never got a second date. And I'm like, yeah. What? And I'm like, and then, dude, I swear to God, the next day after I saw that meme, I was watching this movie. Now it's on Netflix, and it's not The 40-Year-Old Virgin, not the movie with Steve Carell. It's a movie called The 40-Year-Old Version, and it came out in 2020, and it's an independent movie, and it's sort of, it's a movie, it's a black actor, it's a black movie. Let's I guess will be the quickest way to say it. And this girl was doing, and the girl's sort of doing this like beat poem sort of thing, and and then she makes a crack about how, you know, she doesn't want to be with a guy that has a nicer ass than her. And like, I can't believe that this is a thing. Now, obviously, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women out there who are not into fucking, they are not that fucking petty. But I never thought that would be a thing where a girl could be jealous of a guy's ass, and then jealous to the point where you would break up with him. Like, you wouldn't even give him a second date because something that he has no fucking control over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I guess some guys, some exercise, but guys don't go for the nice ass or the big ass. Like, guys don't do squats, and, you know, that's something ladies do. Guys don't generally care about their ass, or if you know, they just, maybe they don't, okay, guys don't want a flat ass or whatever the case may be, but guys don't work on their ass the way girls do. And for a girl to get jealous of a guy to the point, and I've seen girls, on the flip side, I've had girls compliment me on my eyelashes. Oh, your eyelashes are so nice. And you know why? Because I never touched them in my life. I've never plucked them. I've never added mascara to them. I've never, they do the thing where they fluff it up and stuff like that. Yeah, my eyelashes look good because I never fucked with them. You spend your whole life fucking with your eyelashes and they fall out of your fucking head because you've been fucking with them since you were 13 years old. So, or girls say, you have such nice eyes, whatever. Well, look, I have no control over my eyes. But, you never heard a girl saying, like, oh, I'm going to break up with a guy because he has nice eyes. It's so weird. It's so weird that the coincidence of, like, it was two girls in that one post and then the thing in the movie the next day, whereas, like, I can't believe that's a thing. And how fucking petty are you as a person to break up with a guy? And you would think and I thought ladies like a guy with a nice ass. I mean, right? Like when, what was his name? Not Boy George. The guy, I want to have faith. I mean, he was gay. Gay, but I'm saying, like, he shook his ass in the video and the girls liked it. You'd think you'd want a guy with a nice ass. And not me, I have a flat ass, but I'm just saying I can't believe you're that fucking petty and that insecure, that you would dump a guy, for having a nice / fat ass. Now, if he's fat, because he has a fat ass because he's fat, okay, I'm fine. You hate him because he's a fat fuck, then okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I don't. I just.
Yeah. And then two more things before we go to break. It's an hour and a half long, and you have to look for it. But there's sort of there's a whole recount by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez about being in the Capitol during the raid, during the attempted coup. And it's really fucking, like, if you give a shit about anything like that, I say look it up if you haven't seen it already. And once again, it's an hour and a half. I mean, she talks about the actual attack itself for about 10 minutes. And so I saw that clip originally, but then I saw there was a chance to see the whole thing. And she's doing an Instagram live. So, it's harrowing how, she's telling the story. Now, in the story, it gets a little convoluted because she's talking about how a guy came to her office saying, where is she? But then it turned out it was a cop. And then, once again, earlier we were talking about, people of a certain community don't trust police and stuff like that. How she felt, she also felt that she didn't know if she can trust the cop, considering all the crazy shit that's going on. And let's be real here, cops, in my experience, even dealing in law enforcement, the cops tend to be more Republican than Democrat. What if she was worried that what if it was indeed a cop but working for the wrong side, using his authority to get to her office and stuff like that. Him coming to her office looking for her while she was like hiding and stuff like that. And once again, I back the blue, so I'm not gonna, that part I'm sort of like, I'm not talking about that, but she tells her story and it's so weird because, these guys raided the building and it's not like AOC could fucking hide in the crowd. She sticks out. She's a pretty attractive brown-skinned woman. And so, had those guys seen her, I mean, shit, they raided fucking Nancy Pelosi's office. Had the fucking guys seen her in the hallway, even if she was trying to escape or whatever, like, she would have been fucking murdered right in those halls. And so it is a kind of a terrifying story when you think about it. I'm assuming she's telling the truth. I mean, of course, everybody exaggerates a little bit when they tell a story or whatever. And of course, we're only hearing it from her point of view, so she might be making things a little more harrowing than they actually were. But, let's be real here. every other fucking senator, you could put 100 people in the room, and if I told you to pick out the senator, you couldn't pick him out. But if, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was in that room, you could find her in a heartbeat. She sticks out from that crowd of like old white people who are fucking representatives and congressmen. And she's, she has a famous face, and had anybody from those people that raided the Capitol seen her, she would have been murdered. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's, if people are murdering fucking cops, for Christ's sakes, she would have had a huge target on her back. And my last thing before we go to break, the impeachment was officially greenlit, because it was still sort of up in the air last time, so they are going through with it. And the Republicans keep talking about, let's move on. Now, meanwhile, fucking, Benghazi was, fucking Hillary Clinton was on the fucking stand for like 11 hours, or talking about Benghazi and shit like that. More people died in the coup attempt than died in Benghazi, and are worried about Hillary's emails, and here's a literal fucking coup against the United States government, and these Republicans are like, oh, let's move on, because Republicans don't want to piss off their fucking their constituency, because white supremacists don't vote Democratic. White supremacists, when they do vote, they tend to vote Republican. And these Republican cowards, they know that white supremacy is wrong. Especially, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of them that actually believe in white supremacy and believe all the fucking rhetoric. But I'm saying there are people that are scared to speak out against white supremacy because they know white supremacists are their fucking demographic. White supremacists are the people who vote for them. Even though they may not agree with white supremacy, you got to make a lot of fucking strange bedfellows when you're in politics, and they're scared to speak out against white supremacists because white supremacists tend to vote Republican, and it's fucking disgusting. You want to do anything before we go to break? Paul, did I lose you?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, no, I'm good. I mean, I don't think we should be. People are stupid. Impeachment just doesn't. I love the excuses. That's why I'm just like I can't speak, because it's just like this guy was impeached before January 20th. So the impeachment started, the whole process started when he was still president. Yes, he may not be president now, but the point of the impeachment is not because he's currently president. It's because they want to prevent him from being in office ever again. And guess what? That's what they need to do. So, it's just one of those things where there's Republicans just sitting there going, we really need to get this fucker out of here. And it is what it is. So hopefully they make something happen.
Because and I was watching a thing on the news. It's like shit. I know it might have been. No, yeah, it was AOC who said it. She was like, a lot of these people don't want to speak out against Donald Trump because they want to get his demographic. Like, let's just say he gets impeached. These people want to collect his followers and say, okay, look, Donald Trump can't come back, but if you vote for me, if you come for me, I'll do all the shit Donald Trump said he was going to do, and I'll be and AOC said this, and I agree with her. Donald Trump is like a cult leader. He's like that song, Cult of Personality. He's a cult of personality. Mm-hmm. Those people like Trump. And so they're not gonna switch over to the next person that says, "Oh, I'm gonna be like Trump." Those people want Trump, but it's so sad that there's people who are sitting on their hands because they don't want to speak out against Trump, because they're hoping to get that wild fucking fanatical fan base of his, the cult-like fan base, to vote for them so they can stay in office and they can make the deals that they can make to fucking make them keep making themselves rich and shit like that. But I think with that, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds?
Necrophilia.
Celia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough
How did you watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for exclusive events, only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
And we're back. All right, Paul. I had such a fucking clusterfuck before we started this podcast. One, I have a toothache. I mean, right now I'm on ibuprofen. I have a toothache that is so fucking bad that if I take a life in the next couple days, I'm gonna be totally justified for the fucking pain. And it's one of those deals. Now, mind you, I take care of my teeth. I may be a fat fuck, but I take care of my teeth. I brush, I floss damn near every day. Because I have those little tooth flosser things, the little things that they have a pick on one end, a little bit of floss. I keep those by my computer. I floss every day. I take care of my teeth. And then what kills me is I stress my daughter all the time that she needs to take care of her teeth. And I have a toothache that I don't know where the fuck it's come from. I mean, yeah, I eat sweets and stuff like that. I don't think it's the top of my tooth rotting or something like that. It's like under the jaw, it's under the gum, and it's fucking killing me. And it gives me a pain that like I'm liable to fucking take a life with the fucking pain that I'm in. And once again, I'm on ibuprofen right now, and luckily it's been taken care of. And I've been gargling. It's only been here for the past like 2-3 days. But I'm doing the whole Listerine thing, and I'm taking ibuprofen, and I'm hoping it'll go away. And then, getting here, then the police had my fucking street locked down right before we started recording, because whatever wonderful activities that go on my block. Then I couldn't get the microphone to work. I couldn't get the wire to work. We started this podcast late, so we're gonna close it up soon. But I kind of wanted to quick fire the nerdy news before we called it a night. Because, since we don't do these podcasts, a lot of stuff falls through the cracks, and, we need this stuff for posterity. This podcast will be going on 4 years in another month and a half, or 2 months or whatever. 2 months. Yeah, just 2 months. We'll be hitting our 9-year anniversary. WandaVision. First and foremost, I'm loving WandaVision. This show is, Disney is doing the right thing. Like, WandaVision very much reminds me of The Mandalorian. I mean, at least like with the Disney shows, like we knew out the gate there's going to be WandaVision, there's going to be, Winter Soldier and Falcon, and we know there was going to be Loki. And so, and they all kind of have their own thing, WandaVision was supposed to be the goofy, sitcom style show. Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be the action, punch people in the face and fly around stuff show, lasers and shit like that, lasers and punching. And, and Loki's going to be the sort of like weird, mysterious organization that monitors like time paradoxes and stuff like that, since Loki's been throughout the universe and altered timelines and shit like that. So, and so Loki show is going to be a little more of a sci-fi based, weird alternate timelines, alternate universes sort of shows. So, 3 different shows, 3 different kind of genres going on there. And, the way WandaVision's been going, I love it. I guess there's people who are watching it who aren't into the movies as much as I am, and they're bored. These people are like, oh, what's going on? I don't understand what's going on. And people, I don't get it, what's going on. And it's like, assholes. I'm saying these people who are in a world, yes, obviously the world is fake or it's made up. It's either a spell or some sort of weird fucking Matrix program or some sort of, then there's these people on the outside trying to get in, trying to reach Wanda and stuff like that. Now, of course, at least maybe the diehard nerds know where it's kind of going to go from here. But even then, I would still be intrigued, because if you had people, if you told me, hey, there's this show about 2 people that are stuck in this weird world where it resembles 1950s sitcoms, but they're here in today's world, but there's this false reality, and everyone's convinced, and there's a whole conspiracy about the people who live in that town, and we don't know if they're there by choice or by force, if they're part of the Matrix program also, and then there's this outside government agency trying to get in. That would intrigue the fuck out of me. And it's so funny that Marvel, obviously I'm a Marvel fanboy when it comes to the movies and shit like that, and now the cinematic is, because look, I tried to get into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I tried to get into Daredevil. Daredevil was okay the first season. Punisher was okay. I never watched Jessica Jones. I never watched Luke Cage. I never watched Iron Fist. I never watched The Defenders. I tried to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Carter was okay. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe had 2 or 3 good episodes each season, and the rest was all fucking fluff and filler. In a world where these movies are supposed to be connected to the MCU, and then they're fighting fucking, guys in football helmets and shit, guys in motorcycle helmets and shit like that. Marvel TV shows up to this point, up until WandaVision, have been a little lackluster. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the ones that are like way out, there's ones on like FX. There's the one that's like, it's like the son of Professor X. I forgot the name of that show. And there's a couple other ones, not Hawk and Dove. I forgot the name of the Dagger, Cloak and Dagger, or something like that. There's these shows that are somewhat related, even though they're not related. So, they weren't good. And now Disney has finally stepped up, and like the show like The Mandalorian, they're stepping up, and it's funny, they were so smart to get these shows out now, because now we're in the middle of the fucking pandemic, and we got nothing but time and energy to watch these movies and stuff like that. And the way the rumors are going around WandaVision and stuff like that, this is going to be the door that opens to bringing in the X-Men, bringing in the Fantastic Four. Once you bring in the X-Men, you could bring in Deadpool. And it has been confirmed that there is going to be an R-rated Deadpool movie under the Disney banner, which is fucking fantastic. So, I just like what they're doing with the show. To be honest, am I going to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier? Absolutely, but I can give 2 shits about that. Am I going to watch Loki? Yeah, I can watch, WandaVision was a show I was waiting for, and I'm loving every second of it. And we're only 4 episodes in, and there's already references to, the snap, and then there's, the mystery of, just Wanda and her powers, and, people who follow the comics, in the comics, she got rid of all the mutants. The Scarlet Witch has so much power that, and, there was a comic where she said, no more mutants, and erased every mutant from existence. And so we have a feeling that she's going to do the reverse of that, where she's probably going to bring mutants into the universe. These shows, there's still, rumors right there they're going to bring in a big time player. Somebody from the movies or something is going to be part of the show before the season's over. And so they're teasing that. People are thinking it's going to be Doctor Strange. I think that's a little too on the nose, because she's going to be involved in the next Doctor Strange movie. Maybe like in the post credits at the end of last episode, they'll have Doctor Strange, but there's supposed to be another major player who's been in the movies that's going to bring us all, like make us all go wow or whatever. So I love WandaVision. I think it's super good. And if you haven't watched it yet, if I spoiled enough for you, and I don't think I've spoiled too much, but I would say give it a watch. It's certainly, if you like The Mandalorian, it's The Mandalorian of the Marvel shows, and then look, and then The Mandalorian, look, right here at the end of season 2, they announced 50,000 fucking Disney Plus is going to have fucking like 13 new fucking Star Wars shows in the next couple of years. Hopefully some of them are good. Let's be real. Some of them are probably going to fucking suck, but I'm looking forward to the Boba Fett show. I'm looking forward to the Ahsoka show. I'm looking forward to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I could give two shits about the Bad Batch clone troopers, like clone troopers, but they were the Bad Batch. Who gives a shit about that? Once again, watch WandaVision. It's fucking good. And then, of course, let's keep in mind from the comics that Wanda's dad is Magneto. So, if they're going to use this show to kind of bring in the X-Men, that would be an awesome, first mutant that comes over, and she looks over. I mean, if Disney has decided on who's going to be the next Magneto, it would be interesting to, have that character, someone, we don't know, and then she goes dad, and then that guy ends up being Magneto in the next fucking 20 fucking X-Men movies. That would be great. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, but it'd be great if it did. Okay. Resident Evil 8, The Village. And if we look at the VII in Village or whatever, VIL, it looks like, or VILL, looks like the Roman numeral 8. These fuckers are getting cutesy with the Resident Evil. Like the last Resident Evil 7, it was about these weird mutant rednecks. Well, now it's these weird mutant vampires, and they're these giant 12 foot tall. Some people are saying 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall. To me, if your head touches the ceiling and you have to duck down even to walk through the door, you're probably 12 feet tall. Especially in a big mansion like that. These aren't like conventional houses. But it's these big titty, big sexy vampires, seem to be the main bad guys. And of course they have she calls them her sisters. There's the main woman, Domitrisco, whatever. That's the one with the big wide brimmed hat, the big titties, big cleavage, 9 feet tall or whatever. And then she has these 3 girls that kind of float around her, and they call her sisters, and they're more wearing brown, but they all kind of have they look like gypsies for lack of terms, wearing shawls, but they all look sexy with crazy jangly jewelry and stuff like that. So they're supposed to be the bad guys. But I think there's a brother in the game also who's this big fat guy who's 500 pounds and sits there. So they're not all sexy, but it's supposed to be this weird vampires that are 12 feet tall and are sexy and want to kill. I guess it's the main character that survived the hillbillies now has to fight the vampires for Resident Evil. I haven't played a Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 4, but the demo is out there for the PlayStation if you want to play the demo, and that's what a lot of people. And the whole thing is, dude, fucking already people are doing the fucking cosplay. Already there are girls on Twitter. The fucking game's been out 5 fucking minutes, and there's already girls, with the big. Not that I'm complaining. I don't mind big, tall, big titty women. But there's already. Girls out there doing the cosplay for these characters all over fucking Twitter, all over fucking Instagram, and it's people are so thirsty for the next fucking cosplay. And once again, I'm not really complaining. Okay, Evan Rachel Wood, I forgot. I think she was in the Josie and the Pussycat movies or whatever. She had stepped up and she had made accusations that living with Marilyn Manson, that he was gaslighting her and he was treating her like shit and he's an abusive fuck. And it's sort of and once again, I'm not going to sit here and blame the victim, but, I was in my late teens, early 20s, and he took advantage of me. And I was like, are you not fucking familiar with fucking... by the time she got with Marilyn Manson, I mean, we're talking 2010. We're talking 10 years ago, or even 15 years ago. Well, Marilyn Manson has been a fucking nut psycho case since 97? It's not like he exactly is the fucking picture of mental health. And... I don't like, that she's he treated me like shit. What did you expect? He's a rock star who has a fucking reputation for being this asshole who pushes boundaries. What were you expecting him to act like? So, once again, not really blaming the victim, but and also, a girl who's 18, 19, 20, you try to tell her not to date somebody. You tell her not to date that black guy. And And she's gonna say no, and she's gonna rebel and date him anyway. And that's the whole thing is, you know what the fuck you were getting into. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a piece of shit for taking advantage of her if that's the case. But you don't walk into the lion's den, get bit by the lion, and then come out and tell people, hey, you need to kill that lion because he's biting people. No, you walked into the fucking lion's den of your own fucking volition. If you got bit, that's on you. They've already teased, we're right around the corner from the Super Bowl, and I'm really surprised they haven't just started putting all the Super Bowl commercials online like they have been for the past couple of years. But they had teased that they have the guys, Mike Myers and the other guy playing Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World, doing their commercials for Uber Eats. And Uber Eats, recently had the commercial with like Patrick Stewart and Mark Hamill, and so watching Mike Myers and I'm drawing a blank on the guy who plays Garth. They're old, they're fat. And it's like, the illusion is, you guys, you're not in your late teens, early 20s anymore. And you don't look like you're in your, Mike Myers has gotten fat off that Shrek money, and he looks more like Shrek than he does Wayne. And am I happy to see the guys from Wayne's World? Yes, I liked Wayne's World. I love the movie. I like the sketches when I was Saturday Night Live. It just, it makes me question my own existence and where I sit, when I see my heroes are also old and fat. This past week, we lost Cicely Tyson. It is Black History Month. We should have mentioned that since day one. And we were talking all our horrible shit earlier. We're horrible racists. But it is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. So we lost Cicely Tyson the other day. I am not super familiar with her work because I'm a horrible fucking racist. But Cloris Leachman the other day also passed away, 80 years old. I know her from, when in The Facts of Life, when Miss Garrett left, she was like the lady who came and took care of the girls. She was in that show Raising Hope. That was like from the same guys who did My Name is Earl, and she was like the crazy grandmother who had fucking dementia and was running around in a bra and stuff like that. Which is kind of weird because like my grandmother had dementia and stuff like that, and I watched her fucking slowly deteriorate. It's so weird to kind of take a subject that's really fucking dark and demented and kind of make a joke about it. But she didn't do anything in really bad taste or trying to be hurtful. Just sort of funny to see people kind of lose their minds. And but like to me, Cloris Leachman really hit my radar when she was the voice of the old lady in the Beavis and Butthead cartoon, the movie, where we're gonna go and we're gonna get I'm gonna go to Vegas and play the slots, and then Beavis thinks she's saying sluts, and yeah, I love sluts, and stuff like that. So this lady's cool. She likes sluts. So that's where Cloris Leachman, I guess, I think she did a voice in a cartoon movie when I was a kid, and I kind of remember that, but I don't remember the movie. Fern Gully or some shit like that, maybe. But like she really hit my radar when she did the voice of the old lady, which it's funny to hear like a genuine old lady voice, not a character, saying stuff that's like kind of dirty but not really. But of course, Beavis and Butthead thought it was dirty. And here's something I think you wanted to talk about, which we're right around the corner from. Well, not right around the corner, but I know we've been looking forward to Godzilla vs. Kong, coming out on HBO Max.
I'm not looking forward to it.
I thought like you kind of like I thought you waited for like you wanted to see it, or because you're.
No, I don't want to see it. I want to.
You don't want it to be seen.
I'm actually not. Yeah, I'm not watching any. I'm not watching any show or any movie that's coming on HBO Max. Just because
out of solidarity.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not going to put it in theaters only first, then...
Well, I mean, you had made a post, and I'm surprised you didn't mention this earlier when I was talking about the GameStop and AMC. Now, AMC was one of the ones that, like, for some reason, like, once again, these guys have, like, the people... AMC took a big hit last year, as long as other companies obviously took other big hits. And so the Gamergate, excuse me, the Reddit guys, the Wall Street Bet guys, were sort of backing AMC just for the sake of just backing, I guess, like a theater company. But you had made a good post about, like, why are you backing just AMC when the whole fucking industry needs... And if you're going to give these guys a boost, right, you give the whole fucking industry a boost. Don't just single out AMC. right? Or and it made sense. I'm surprised you didn't mention that earlier.
Well, so it makes me laugh because the problem right now is movie theaters aren't making a lot of money, and for Cinemark and AMC to still be open, they're basically bleeding money as we're even talking on this podcast. So what that means is that they have all their theaters open where they can have them open, and they're making very little money to pay all the bills that they have. So did AMC the other day, now, and this is separate from the stock thing that just happened, but they sold off a bunch of fucking stocks to make a shit ton of money. And they were able to secure some money too, so that way they could be around. But here's the problem. If your theater, if you have a bunch of these theaters, you have like over 1,000 theaters open nationwide, and they're not doing any business, and you're not able to pay the bills, you're bleeding money, literally. So while I appreciate they're paying people to be there, number one, I can tell you for a fact that not every single employee is getting the hours that they probably typically would get. Number two, again, like I said, they're just wasting money. And number three, they'll bleed through all that money very quickly. So, I understand the situation, but at this point, if you're letting Warner Brothers dictate to you, oh, it's okay to put insert movie on the screen and have it on HBO Max the same day, then you're not really understanding what's going on. And I get that this is, the pandemic's going on and we want to accommodate people, but there are private theaters right now that are closed that aren't making deals like Cinemark and AMC are doing, and are basically when they open, they got to figure out what they want to do. Do they show the movie that's on HBO Max when it's not going to make any money, or do they just not show it? You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you have to sit there and say, I'm not going to watch these movies because it's not supporting my industry. So why would I support them? That's basically where I'm at with it. Don't get me wrong. The trailer that they put out for Godzilla versus Kong looked really good, and I may cave and eventually see it because I have HBO Max for free anyways. It's
released as if it was in the theaters at one point, and then gets released back on HBO Max after a while, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I don't know. I may still see it when it comes out. I don't know yet, but I'm not into supporting things that just don't support the industry.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm at with it. But I do think it looks good.
Godzilla King of Monsters, like my opinion of pretty much every fucking Godzilla movie, I could give two shits about the fucking humans. If there was a way that they could do the movie where it's just, there's Kevin Smith was talking about this on his podcast, where they said there's two versions of the movie. You can see the 2-hour movie where that's doing the regular cut, or like you pay the exact same amount of money, but you just watch, the 20 minutes of fighting. And he goes, I think people would show up just to watch the fighting. And if they want, they'll come back and watch the whole movie. And it sounds like a joke, but I think I would actually do that. But it looks good. A lot of speculation that Kong and Godzilla won't be the only monsters from that universe that we'll see in the movies. The rumor was, this one is not a spoiler or anything like that. These movies are supposed to somehow connect with the Pacific Rim movies, because they're all licensed through Lionsgate. And so Lionsgate has the rights to the Pacific Rim movies. So I'm wondering if, they're treating these movies as a somewhat prequel to Pacific Rim, where like maybe at the end of the movie, the fucking, the big crack, and of course, if you watch Pacific Rim, they say, there's a Pacific Rim, there's no mention of Godzilla or King Kong or anything like that. It's just sort of Monday monsters just started coming out of the ocean, out of this weird crack that was either, from the earth or from another dimension or some shit like that. But, the rumor is that Lionsgate was really trying really, really, really hard to shoehorn, the Pacific Rim movies into this. So I'm wondering if we're going to see anything like that from this movie. You know what I'm saying? Because, now that we have Godzilla, we have King Kong. Now, if they, and in this movie, Godzilla, they have like, and it's not really a spoiler. Some material, they're like, they're not, they're fighting each other because, I guess, 100 million years ago, there was an army of King Kongs and an army of Godzillas, and they were all fighting each other, and like these are the last two of their kind, standing, and that's why they're fighting. They're not fighting, like, the reason they're fighting is because, they're fighting a fight that's been around for billions of years or something like that, which is it's a cool little twist on why they would be fighting. And, and then once again, if there's been monsters from long ago, maybe some of those monsters were from another dimension. Maybe Godzilla's from another dimension. Maybe King Kong's from another dimension. It was explained why we have kaiju in our universe, or whatever the case may be. But it looks good. And like I said, I liked King of Monsters. The part when it got to the fucking actual monsters fighting, it was fucking good. And I happened to see that in IMAX theater. Sorry, they'll get mad at me. And that's the kind of movie you want to see in an IMAX movie, because it was pretty, and it was pretty big and pretty epic. And to show you just what a different time it was. Like before the movie, they had like an 8-minute segment from Tenet, and it was. Back in the time when we thought Tenet was going to come out, and now, then 2020 happened. So that's it for my notes. Anything else before we call it a day?
I think you covered everything other than the wonderful snowstorm we just had.
The Northeast had a snowstorm. There was snow all over the place, and that was another reason why I was late, because I had to fucking drive into my drive. I couldn't even get into my driveway without the drug dealers across the street helping me shovel out my driveway. But go on, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I should say that, what was I going to say? I should say that it was, there was a snowstorm that came through, but then we got snow after the snowstorm went through, so just weird.
Well, it's winter in fucking Rochester. We're gonna have snow.
True.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net and .com, where you can find all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes. If you have an iTunes, iPhone, iPad, iPod, you can find, subscribe to us there. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can find us on the Stitcher app for Android devices, and for iOS devices also. But the Stitcher app is what I use to listen to my podcasts. I put it on Listen Later and available offline. So when I'm out and about, which actually these days I don't go out and about that much, but when I did, I don't kill my battery and I don't use up all my data. I download everything while I'm at home and listen to it while I'm running my errands, when I'm in the car and stuff like that. So, pretty much every podcast worth listening to is on there. I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, and Joe Rogan moved over to Spotify. So he's not a Joe Rogan anymore, but all the podcasts are worth listening to. And of course, Paul's other baby, the Monolith, the Toonami Faithful podcast, is available on Stitcher. You can find it there, or you can go right to the source. You get mountain water straight from the source. You can go right to the stream and go right to SoundCloud, where we've been for the past 3 or 4 years now. Yeah, we've been on SoundCloud long enough for we had the episode Last Day in America, which was our first episode after Trump got elected. So we've been on SoundCloud for over 4 years now, and you can find us there, and you can download the episodes absolutely directly. So if you want to just download it, so you're one of those people that you still have an actual MP3 player, or for whatever the case may be, or for if you need to download this podcast as evidence in court against me for some reason, you can do so on the SoundCloud app. Just go there. I make all the episodes available for download there. We want your money. We need your money. And you think in the middle of the pandemic with me with nothing but time on my hands. Well, actually, I've been working on a couple things, but I would have set up a Patreon or something like that. But even if you can't do that, it takes 2 seconds to like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Click like the page, share the page, like this episode, share the episode. Every little bit helps. Let your friends know about it. Get the word out. So once again, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/twostrangersonePodcast. You can interact with us. It'd be nice to interact with people from the United States. A lot of our followers are people from third world countries for whatever reason. And not that I have anything against that, but I'd like to have some actual Americans like the show and listen to the show. And look, if you're from another country, feel free to reach out to us. I mean, if your English isn't that great, that's fine. But we're a long-term listener and follower and shit talker. Oscar was from Peru, and he's talked a lot of shit about me, but I mean, it was a fun part. I looked forward to his horrible emails, which I'm going to look up right now while I'm talking. And if you would like to write to us the way Oscar does, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. twostrangersonepodcast, all spelled out, @gmail.com. And what else? I'm looking at no new Oscar mails. Maybe he fell off the face of the earth. We're on for the episodes that aren't on SoundCloud. From we were previously on Podomatic, and those guys. It blows my mind that Podomatic was literally charging 3 times what SoundCloud charges, and we were paying that shit. For the episodes that we're on, if you want to listen to 9 years worth of podcasts, you can find all the episodes that weren't on SoundCloud on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and search for Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out, and you can find all those episodes. You can find links to my audiobook, Odd I See It Tell from the Road. You can find 3 albums worth of music from my I make electronic music under the name XLNYC, as in extra large New York City. And you could also find my Stranger vlogs, which I've been really having a bug in my ass to get the Stranger vlogs up and running. I did about 40 of them, and I kind of want to do them over. I want to do them again, but I don't want to start over. So, if I do them again, I'll start numbering them again at like 41, 42, 43. I'm not going to go back to 1. And you can find all that stuff on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube, just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. And I think with that, I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me, paulpascrillo@toonamifaithful.com. And, that's basically it.
Okay. So we certainly hope you guys had as much fun listening as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris. Don't be a stranger.
Paul. Peace.
Bye. You should be fapping. Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between 2 of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just wanted to spell it out.
Normally one says that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15, and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonePodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.